Hi there, I'm Surangar from English Win. By now I think you have the idea what I'm going to do. I'm going to read a book. The book is Dead Man's Island by John Scott. And I want you to listen to the native speaker first. And then I read it, and thereafter I'm going to explain it. I'm talking about the characters and everything appear in the book. Dead Man's Island by John Scott. And this is the cover page of the book. මේක තමයි පොතේ පිට cover එක. එතකොට මේක Oxford University Press වලින් කරපු පොතක්. It was in 1991 first published. එවනම් අපි මේ කතාව අහන්න සූදානම් වෙමු.
Dead Man's Island by John Scott. Published and copyright Oxford University Press, 1992. Chapter 1. Coming to England. My name is Carol Saunders. I live in England now, but when I was younger, I lived in Hong Kong.
My name is Carol Saunders. She says her name is Carol Saunders. That's a girl. My name is Carol Saunders. Mama Carol Saunders. I live in England now. Why does she say I live in England now? I live in England now. Mama දැන් ඉන්නේ එංගලන්තේ. I live in England now. So that reason must be she must have lived somewhere else. That's why she says that I live in England now. Mama දැන් ඉන්නේ එංගලන්තේ. දැන් ඉන්නේ එංගලන්තේ කියන්න ඕනේ නෑනේ. She must have lived somewhere. වෙනින් කොහරි ජීවත් වෙලා ඉන්න ඇති බලමු.
My father was a businessman there, and my mother worked as a secretary. We lived in Hong Kong for 7 years.
I live in England now, but when I was young mama podi kale ned, right? Yeah, mama podi ka kale. When I was younger, yeah. I lived in Hong Kong. You understand, right? Now I am in England, but when I was younger, I lived in Hong Kong. Where is she now? She's in England or she's in Hong Kong? Now she's in England. When I was younger, I was there in Hong Kong, she says. My father was a businessman there. මොකද්ද බලමු businessman කියලා කියන්නේ. My father was a businessman there. Businessman basically is a person who involves in business, or he has skills in sort of financial matter basically. When it comes to businessman, the business කරන කෙනෙක් නේද? Business කරන කෙනෙක්. And businessman there. There means here, me, there, he. And then businessman there, that is not England, but that is Hong Kong. Yeah. Lived in Hong Kong. My father was a businessman there, and my mother worked as a secretary. In Hong Kong, not in England. My mother worked as a secretary. Who is secretary? What is that job? Secretary. Secretary is a person working in an office. A secretary basically works for another person. එයාට නෙමෙයි secretary office එක වෙනින් කෙනෙකුට වැඩ කරන කෙනෙක්. And secretary basically has a sort of work. Recording things and drafting letters and managing with telephone calls and internet and so on, keeping records and things like that. That is the job of secretary. අපි කියනවා private secretary කියලා කියන්නේ. පෞද්ගලික ලේකම් නේද? secretary ලේකම්. ඒතර මගේ අම්මා ලේකම් කෙනෙක් විදිහට වැඩ කරේ. Hong Kong for 7 years. Now we are living in England, but we were in Hong Kong. We were there for 7 years. I was happy at school. I was happy. Mama සතුටින් හිටියේ school. I was happy at school with lots of friends. I had lots of friends. Who says? Carol Saunders. Carol Saunders says, I'm living in England now, but I was in Hong Kong. I lived there for 7 years. My mother and father. My father was a businessman there, and my mother was a secretary. And I was really happy in Hong Kong. Yeah, I had a lot of friends. ඉතින් යාළුවෝ ගොඩක් ඉන්නවා නම් කොහොමදත් happy නේ නේද, right? We lived in Hong Kong for 7 years. I was happy at school. With lots of friends. I අපි මේ කිව්වේ නෑ නේද? සුද්දා කියනවා හුවේ නෑ නේ, සුද්දා කියනවා හුවේ නෑ. අපි සුද්දා කියන එකට යන්න.
I was happy at school with lots of friends, and we had a good time. I like pop music. The Rolling Stones, David Bowie, and Jake Rosso were my favourites.
I was happy at school. පාසලේ හිටිය හරි සතුටින්. I was happy at school. I was happy at school. දැන් මේවා ග්‍රැමර් වල අපි පස්සේ කතා කරමු. ඊළඟ වටයක් එනකොට ස්කූල් එකේ ඇට්ට අපි කතා කරන්නේ at school, at a hotel නේද? ඒ මොනවද කියලා. ඒවා දැන් කතා කරන්න ගියොත් මේක විකාර වෙනවා. විනාශ වෙලා යනවා. රසය නැති වෙලා යනවා. ඔක්කොම ග්‍රැමර්, present perfect ද අරවද මේවද. ඒවා නැහැ. ඒවා අපි පස්සේ කතා කරමු. කතා කරනකොට අපි මේ present perfect වලින් නම් මේ කියන්නේ ඒව කියන්නේ නැහැ නේද, right? ඒකින්ද what we want to know is the meaning of this. What is she going to say? මොනවද එයා කියන්නේ යන්නේ කියන එක තමයි අපිට දැන් මේක වැදගත් වෙන්නේ. I was happy at school. මම හරි සතුටින් ඉස්කෝලේ හිටියේ with lots of friends and we had a good time. අපිට හරි ෂෝක් කාලයක් තිබුණා. I liked pop music. මම හරි කැමති වුණා pop music වල. What is pop music? Pop music is popular music. Popular music basically it started in 1950. Yeah, 1950. Pop music started in 1950 and pop music has a strong rhythm and simple tune. Hari loku honda strong rhythm එකක් තියෙන electronic gadgets, guitars වගේ පාවිච්චි කරන music එකක්, rock music 1950 තමයි start උනේ. දැන් මං හරි ආස කරා ඒවට. I was happy at school with lots of friends and we had a good time. I like pop music. The Rolling Stones, David Bowie and Jake Rosso were my favorites. Favorite. What is your favorite? What do you mean by favorites? මොකද මේ favorite කියලා කියන්නේ? Favorite කියලා කියන්නේ you like more of things of the similar sort. එක වගේ දේවල් වලින් වඩාත් කැමති. My favorite food, you would say that my favorite food is mixed fried rice. So somebody would say my favorite food is say kottu roti or something like that. Favorite. My favorite singer is, I would say my favorite singer is Victor Ratnayaka, or my favorite singer is Milton Mallavarachi. Favorite වඩාත් කැමති. පුද්ගලයෙකුට වෙන්නත් පුළුවන්, දෙයක් වෙන්නත් පුළුවන්. My favorite author is Martin Wickramasinghe, I would say. Deකට කිව්වොත් my favorite food nasi goreng. Yeah. David Rosso and Jake Rosso were my favorites. ඒගොල්ලෝ තමයි මගේ favorites. ඊට පස්සේ අපි ආපහු යනවා.
Jake Rosso was my favourite singer. He died in a car accident the year I left school. But I listened to his pop records all the time. I had hundreds of pictures and photos of him on my bedroom wall.
Jake Rosso was my favorite singer. My favorite singer, Jake Rosso. Winning kenek nemi, my favorite singer. Yeah, Jake Rosso was my favorite singer. He died in a car accident the year I left school. It's really, really sad. Hari duka katawak nede. He died in a car accident the year I left school. Jake Rosso was my favorite singer. He died in a car accident the year I left school. The year. Year. Jake Rosso was my favorite singer. He died in a car accident the year I left school. The year I left school. The year I left school. Leave harayano. Left haragiya. The year I left school. Mama පාසල හරගිය අවුරුද්දේ තමයි Jake Rosso නැති වුණේ. Car accident එකකින්. Jake Rosso was my favorite singer. He died in a car accident the year I left school. But I listen to his pop records all the time. But I listen to his pop records all the time. Even at Hammer Vilayama, but I listen to his pop records all the time. Jake Rosso is dead and gone. He's no more. But I continue listening to his pop records all the time. Not continuing. She says, I listen to his pop records all the time. I listen to. Can't say exactly now she is listening. Then කියවනවා කියලා අපිට අහනවා කියලා අපිට එකකින් කියන්න බෑ. මෙයා කියන්නේ අපි දන්නේ තාම කතන්දරේ. I listen to his pop records all the time. හැම වෙලාවෙම මං යාගේ records ඇහුවා. එයා නැති වුණාට පස්සේ after his death. I continued listening to his pop records. That is what she is going to say. I had hundreds of pictures and photos on him on my bedroom wall. I had මට තිබුණා. දැන් තියෙනවා කියලා කියන්නේ නෑනේ. I had hundreds of pictures and photos of him on my bedroom wall. When I was basically in Hong Kong, I had hundreds of pictures and photos on my bedroom wall. On your your bedroom is a very special place to you. Everybody is so. My bedroom is a very special place for me. And here she says her bedroom was really decorated with beautiful photos and pictures, posters and everything of Jake Rosso. She loved Jake Rosso so much that she fixed photos, posters, lots of things on bedroom wall. Yeah. I have hundreds of pictures and photos of him, photos, on my bedroom wall. Then one day in winter, when I was 17, things began to go wrong for me. Then one day, in winter, what is winter? Winter is the coldest season of the year between autumn and spring. In winter, Sitala, Katuga, Vilawa. And winter time is basically unbearable to most of the people living there. That's the reason why Sudu come here annually to have just beautiful beaches to sunbathe and to do a lot of things. They like our beaches, sandy beaches, hot sun. Then one day in winter, මේකට වින්ටර්ම අරගෙන තියෙනවා හාදයනේ සීතල කාලේ. ඒකටත් අමාරුයි නේ. ඇඟපතලත් අමාරුයි. Then one day in winter when I was 17, things began to go wrong for me. We did not listen to that part.
Then one day in winter, when I was 17, things began to go wrong for me.
What is winter? Winter is the coldest season of the year. That was between autumn and spring. You know that. But සීතල අරගෙන තියන්නේ මේක හරි නරකයි කියලා කියන්නනේ. සීතල කාලෙම මේක වෙන්න ඕනේ යම නැත්තම් නේද? Right. Then one day in winter, after Jake Rosso's death, then one day in winter, when I was 17, yeah. I was 17, mandahatai. Things began to go wrong for me. That's really interesting. Go wrong. The දෙයක් වෙනවා වෙන්න බෑ go wrong කියන්නේ නේ. මොකද wrong යන්නේ අපි කියන්නේ. එයා wrong යන්නේ ඒ වගේ වැරද්දක් වෙනවා. Facing difficulties and problems, going wrong, things going wrong. දේවල් වැරදි විදියටමයි සිද්ධ වෙන්නේ. අයියෝ මොනව කරන්නද? Things going wrong. How are you? How are the things with you? අනේ මන් දන්නේ ඔයි. Things going wrong, I say. හැමදේම වැරදි විදියට යන්නේ. I try my best to do things, right? But things go wrong. ඔක්කොම හරහට වැරද්දට සිද්ධ වෙන්නේ. Something like that. Then one day in winter, when I was 17, පොඩි කාලේ, things began to go wrong for me. දේවල් I was facing problems and difficulties and things like that. Don't know what happens. In next video you will see really what's happening. Yes. So far the story is about Carol Saunders. It's a girl. Carol Saunders is a girl, and she was living in Hong Kong for 7 years, but now she is in England, as you know. And she says her father was a businessman and her mother was a secretary, and they were living in Hong Kong for 7 years happily, and she was really happy, and she had a lot of friends there at school. School time was really good for her, as she says in this. And another thing what she says is she liked music a lot, and especially pop music, J. Crosso and some other names I can't remember. And she says she liked pop music. Pop music is, type of strong sort of music using electric guitars and things. Started in 1950s. So then finally what happened was J. Crosso died in an accident. She says that it was in the year she left school. Yeah, that is it. Another thing, when she was 17, she started facing a lot of problems. That is, things going wrong for her. Things going wrong for her, she said. Start. පටන්ගත්තා කියලා කියන්නේ. කියන්නේ කරදර ගොඩක් ඒ විපස්සනේ. එයා කියන විදිහට things began going wrong for me. වැරද්දට දේවල් වෙන්න පටන් ගත්තා. ඒ කියන්නේ දිගට කරදර ඇති. From 17. Okay. You will see what are the problems and difficulties in next video. එහෙනම් අදට අපි අතිනේ කරා නේද? right. අපි අද සමුගමු. right. See you then. Bye.